remove the carbohydrates from your diet, and wait for the next problem to come along in your life, and this is what you get.
The massive flooding around Houston has forced tens of thousands of people out of their homes. Many of them are now living in shelters.
Share with us how you were rescued.
Some guys had called our phone and asked us where we were because we was waiting for the police for like 36 hours and they never came. But we had been there like 5 days with no food.
We've heard of stories of mothers trying to save their children from the rushing waters. Can you tell us how that was?
Through 4 feet of water to go get them food on the first day. Yeah, that's a lot of shit. But y'all sitting here, y'all trying to interview people during their worst times. Like, that's not the smartest thing to do. Like, people are really breaking down and y'all sitting here with cameras and microphones trying to ask us what the fuck is wrong with us.
So I'm so
and
sorry,
you really trying to understand it with the microphone still in my face, with me shivering cold, with my kids wet, and you still putting the microphone in my face.
Sorry. Rosa Flores, it sounds like you've got a very upset family there. We're going to take a break from that. I want to go back to Rosa Flores, who was at that shelter in Houston. Rosa, that was just that situation a few moments ago where that woman and her daughter were talking to you, and the woman there, really, you could tell she was at the breaking point.
You know, we've seen a lot of pain, a lot of trauma, a lot of shock here, and that's exactly what that woman is going through. Seeing other people hanging onto branches, trying to swim and take care of their children, and seeing people perish in the waters, and people screaming, asking for help.
It was important to catch the part where she said she hasn't been eating in days. Well, now some people would say that most people would be in that kind of a mood, but that's not the case. When these kind of tragedies happen, people quickly adapt. What you've been seeing is people just doing what they have to do. There's also, everybody just coming together, working together, and being nice to each other, and gratitude that they're alive.
They're just now getting water and food for the first time.
Now, most people know that the body and mind do not do well when you haven't eaten in a while. But, some people will say, that's because you don't have any fuel, you're hungry and you're out of energy. That's not true. You need energy just to stay alive, and you can live for many weeks off of your stored body fat. I get told this very thing when I put down high-fat diets. Well, not high-fat, but fat-based diets, low-carb and low-calorie. People tell me it's perfectly fine because they're running off their body fat. They can do anything. So why is it that the body and mind do not do well when people go on diets and they feel crabby? They've got the fat, but what's missing is the carbs. Not only is it much easier for the body to use carbs for energy, but when the carbs are not there, the body knows something's wrong, and the mind knows something's wrong, and they don't work right. And the average person is normally cranky, and the average person eats high-fat diet. Now, when I went super high-carb, high-raw, high-fruit 7 years ago, I noticed something about my personality. And what I noticed is that I just felt good. I felt at peace. Even when there were problems happening, I could simply deal with it mentally much better. And it made me realize that, we're not just at the mercy of everything going around outside of us. We're not really reacting to that. What we feel is how we feel inside. And what you start with before a problem happens is what's mostly going to dictate how you're going to react to a problem when it comes up. And I just happen to have the perfect real-life, real-time example of this happening. And it's in the hurricane. And I covered this person in my last video. And she lives in Houston. It's fully raw Christina. She eats a high-fruit diet, low in fat, all the fruit you can eat. And look at how she is handling the hurricane.
Hey you guys, it's Christina. Had floods and tornado warnings and sad and scary and so many things all at once.
This whole atrium was filled to the brim and started leaking in water last night, which was pretty scary. That's like 12 inches of waters.
I legit can't even get out of my neighborhood to get family members in my truck. I'm turning around. We're making waves. I know a lot of people are scared of the rain, but like, nothing like it. 2 to 3 feet of water over my knees. This is the street curb. Oh my God. Yup, traffic cone underwater.
So you want to carb up. High carbohydrates. And even higher carbohydrates. More carbs. More carbs. If you fill up on this stuff enough, you just won't eat all the other stuff. Low carb moments with Jeb.
The Swiss Army Guard has probably taken pretty good care of.
Jeb Bush is definitely grumpily running.
But I think the norm ought to be the basic health care commitment by this country to people ought to be.
Someone asked, was it true that the stomach shrinks during a diet, easing the pangs of hunger? I am always hungry.
Jeb, low energy Jeb Bush. So low energy. Oh. You fall asleep looking at him.
Yeah. That the health care is affordable, which means lower premium, higher deductible plans in life. That it won't wipe you out. It won't destroy your way of invest alongside with it. And the support comes in the out-of-pocket costs, and that insurance provides. You've made healthy lifestyle decisions.
An article on CNN Politics. Jeb Bush was hungry when he walked into a lobster restaurant. I'm starving to death. And it ends up being a lot like the Atkins diet. Well, Atkins diet has failed. It failed in the 70s and the 90s. Speaking of the Atkins diet, I found out in my research for this video that Jeb Bush did the Atkins diet about 10 years ago. And look what happened. Here we are now. He had to go on a diet again. Dr. Robert Atkins was running on fat when he slipped on the ice, ending his political life of selling bullshit to the American people. Low-carb diets do not work long-term. The whole philosophy is flawed. There is nothing wrong with carbs. Carbs have made me thin. Now, in my latest book, which is called Binge Eating Banished, now, this book actually fits in with what I'm talking about, but it just doesn't sound like it does. But I haven't solved binge eating by getting you to stop binge eating. You see, that's not a really good approach. I take the approach of fixing what makes binge eating a problem, because binge eating isn't actually the problem. People don't realize that humans were meant to eat a lot of volume. So I'm looking at the book right now. I'll give you a preview of what the book is like. Chapter 1, where is the solution already? Diet solutions that haven't worked. You've got to look at why things haven't worked. Now, other people have looked at that, and they use that line of thought to come to a certain conclusion, but I use it to come to the right conclusion that's going to help people. Chapter 2, the truth behind addictions and willpower, which is what I was just talking about. People don't really understand these things in a way that's going to help them. What we have is a population that is continually stuck in the diet matrix. They never get out of it. I have not been in it, and I'm thin. I eat all I want. That's because I'm doing what is normal for the human body, what is sustainable. Chapter 3, getting off of addictive foods. See, a lot of people can't do that, and that's because of what they're doing wrong. I get into emotional eating. See, the woman who cursed out the CNN reporter, when she gets her hands on some food, she's going to be eating fast and a lot. Is that emotional eating? You see, we have to change how we think of all this stuff. Is she just having cravings? What the diet industry doesn't reveal, healthy diet tricks, out of sight, out of mind. I forgot I had written that. There was a post I saw on the internet recently that was about that very thing. Life beyond food. And I'm not talking about avoiding food and eating less to lose weight. I'm talking about change in mindset, a change in how you live and think. I'll actually read some of this chapter here. People become so attached to certain foods that they refuse to get off those foods to save their lives. Pleasure from food is superficial. The pleasure only exists because the body attempting to get you to eat calories needed for survival makes you hungry when calories are needed. And then it turns off hunger when you eat. And while eating, it creates endorphins that make you feel good about eating. People only enjoy things like junk food and meat because their body is sending that signal to the mind, because the body gets an abundance of calories from those foods, which is why you got to get it from particular sources. Stop eating low calorie. You can find more about my 2 books in the description below this video. I also have 500 videos, and I don't just make videos just to make them. I make videos that I think are important and that will help people. And I also have a lot of my videos organized into playlists. So check out my playlist list. Remember to rate this video, thumbs up or thumbs down. Leave a comment. I always want to know what people think. And share this video around. And subscribe so you'll be notified of more videos. And click that icon next to the subscribe button. Here's more from my video about Cassie Ho, who is a really popular diet and fitness guru on YouTube. And sorry, she shouldn't be.
It definitely wasn't sustainable, and it brought me through a roller coaster of emotions.
She had a mental disorder.
All I wanted was a cheesecake. You would think Cassie would know better.
I don't think she'd know any better. She's all about calorie restriction.
I didn't want to admit to myself that I had a problem.
Bullshit. She didn't want to admit to her audience that she doesn't know what she's talking about when it comes to losing weight, and that calorie restriction causes problems in the long term. And she still doesn't get that she still is calorie restricting. And for 3 years, Cassie Ho has been teaching her audience to watch their calories, fear carbs, eat a lot of abused animals, and exercise your ass off, because these things work, all the while blocking anybody who speaks out about the flaws in this business strategy, because these things work temporarily and they bring in the money.
You can save yourself a lot of trouble.
And money. So I say, carve the fuck up! Carve the fuck up!
So Jeb has spent over $100 million on the campaign, and he's down here in the toilet.
Carve the fuck up! Carve the fuck up! Carve the fuck up! Carve the fuck up!
Rescue helicopters, exclusive video. You saw this earlier on a helicopter. He's the only reporter on board the helicopters as they airlift families. Police have found that van that was carrying an elderly couple and 4 great-grandchildren. It was swept away by floodwaters on Sunday. Officials say they found 6 dead at the scene. This news brings the total number of storm-related deaths to 19.
We're all pulling for you, and I'm sure hopefully people hearing this only want to help even more. So thanks very much. Thanks for coming.
That is so nice. Thank you. Men and women with the military, the Air Force, and the Navy, they told us they're going to go as long as help is needed. U.S. Air Force that is doing the basket drops. We were along inside as that was happening. This is another group that has just been brought to safety here. Look at this is many, many people. We're looking at about 15 people, families, children. They're bringing a man down now in a wheelchair. All of these people have been plucked to safety. This is the Army helicopter that is...
With respect to young Joshua, that is a harrowing ride. You saw how that basket was spinning. It's going up. It's spinning. It's windy. The prop wash from the helicopter is causing it to be windier. And then you get into the helicopter that's also moving. It would not be normal, Miguel, to not be frightened. I mean, I'm looking at those shots. It would not be normal to not be frightened as that basket was coming up.
I was terrified to be inside the helicopter. And, you know, this is an 11-year-old boy who's being hoisted up outside in the elements.
And then 2 hours later, it would be clear. And then across town, it was another one the same. So it has been, in fact, people that I know that have done this for years and years have said they've never seen anything like this before. And it's every part of the city. It's not the north, south, east, or west. It is every single part of our city.
We began this by talking about how roads in and out of the city are impassable.
I'm going to put the mic down. We're going to help them try to get back into the boat so we can get them out of here.